another episode of Comm Chronicles. Today we're diving into something a little wild, and that would be how outrage fuels the internet. In simple man terms, clickbait. And in today's episode, we're joined with Hanim. Hi, Hanim.
Hello, everyone. I'm back again.
Hanim is some sort of an internet expert in terms of, knowing people's backgrounds and the things that they did, especially when it comes to, how outrage fuels the internet. So we're going to get some really good insights from Hanim, as someone who's always been viewing their content. So we're talking about the people who basically kind of thrive on being unfiltered, chaotic, or just like messy in general. And today specifically, we're going to be looking at three people who have mastered the art of turning outrage into engagement. Trisha Paytas, Jojo Siwa, and Nikocado Avocado. Some of them started off as beloved internet figures, but along the way, their content has basically became into, if there's drama, there's views. So I would like to know a bit more about Trisha. So Hanim, what do you know about Trisha?
Okay, so basically, I'm pretty sure we all know that Trisha Paytas started off as a YouTuber, right? Like in the late 2000s,
Mm-hmm.
and she'll be
Mm-hmm.
making like random vlogs. She also participated in the mukbang trend, and she did a lot of story time videos. But then her story time started to become a little bit too personal, and then she
Mm-hmm.
became infamous for oversharing things, and she used to have um like emotional breakdowns on camera. And she
Mm-hmm.
also has a lot of bizarre internet stunts, such as like, do you remember that time that she claimed to be a chicken nugget?
Yeah, that one went viral, dude.
I know, right? So yeah, so she always involves herself in a lot of like internet feuds. Like
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if you remember that one time she fought with that person. She fought with a lot of like beauty YouTubers, as well as
Mm-hmm.
like as well as some podcasters, and sometimes she would even fight with her own fans. So
Mm-hmm.
yeah, so that made her very controversial, but somehow every single time she does something like that, she always finds a way to like bounce back. And there was
Mm-hmm.
a time where she reinvented herself as a musician, and she released a few original songs on her YouTube channel.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah, yeah, and then she started her own podcast, and then TikTok came about, and then she became a TikTok sensation. And yeah, but most recently, she became viral again because she became a mother. And since
Mm-hmm.
then, her image has softened a little bit. That's why you don't really hear much about her anymore. Because
Yeah.
ever since she got a child and she got married, she just kind of laid low a little bit.
I
So
feel like
yeah,
that might still be some sort of, rebranding again, being a mom. I guess
yeah,
it's
that's
she's not really doing it because she genuinely became a mom. I don't know. Maybe it still might be for views, Maybe. I don't know. But
true.
well, that's Trisha. But let's talk about Jojo Siwa. I think Jojo Siwa has been the person that has been making very, very edgy comebacks, really, if I'm being honest.
Yeah.
I knew her from Dance Moms.
Oh,
I knew her for being, all glitter, rainbow, and her
right.
dance, of course. But I think I kind of forgot about her, if I'm being honest, until I heard her new song. I guess she has
Right.
more new songs now, but the latest one I heard was Karma. So yeah. What about Jojo Siwa?
Well, you mentioned that she used to be all glitter and rainbows, and she was a very positive kind of figure, and her audience was more towards like children, especially since she was younger, right? But now that she's
Mm-hmm.
older, yeah, she has been making a lot of edgy comebacks, like her song
Mm-hmm.
Karma, like the way she was dressed and the lyrics and everything was very drastically different from the way that she has branded herself previously.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, it started out in 2023 actually. She suddenly rebranded with a villain era, and she started calling out her former bosses, and she started changing her look and posting a little more edgier content. As she grew older, I guess
Mm-hmm.
she assumed her audience also grew older, but they were quite divided actually. Some people
Mm-hmm.
did like her rebellious, edgy side, but some others felt like she was just kind of doing it all for attention.
Yeah.
But
Mm-hmm.
yeah, but she did get that attention though. Her bad girl transformation, it actually worked because
Mm-hmm.
it helped. People were streaming her music regardless if they were streaming it out of entertainment or just to laugh at it. And
That's
her
true.
interviews got juicier. People were like more interested to know what she was gonna say this time. And yeah,
Mm-hmm.
as you said, you kind of forgot about her, but this rebranding, everybody's kind of like talking about her now. So
That's true. That is true.
yeah, it kind of
I guess in
worked.
a way it kind of worked, yeah, But it's just, I guess the most insane part is that she literally went from two different color scopes. Like her whole color scheme was like rainbow, and then she went to like being all black, totally all black.
Yeah.
That's just insane. I guess that's also like a big hit point to why it's like such a big clickbait, because like her whole self looks so different. Which brings
Yeah.
me to Nicocado Avocado, who
Oh yeah.
has literally become skinny and then fat and then skinny. I'm not even in line with when he became skinny or when he became fat. But every time I see him, his weight is always reducing or increasing. I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know, man. What
Yeah.
about Nico?
Okay, so he started out actually, surprisingly, as a wholesome vegan YouTuber, and he would post mukbang videos and also some of like lifestyle content, like just daily life.
Mm-hmm.
But
Mm-hmm.
over time, as like the mukbang trend started to get a little bit intense, he also kind
Mm-hmm.
of played along with it, and he picked up a lot
Mm-hmm.
of like unhealthy eating habits. So
Mm-hmm.
his channel became wholesome vegan content to like extreme food challenges where he would really push himself to his extremes, and he would sometimes have over the top emotional breakdowns. So
Mm-hmm.
his content was then like kind of like comedy, like self-deprecating kind of comedy, and it was also
Mm-hmm.
self-destruction. And basically just
Mm-hmm.
like it stirred up a lot of controversy because his fans couldn't tell if he was just joking or if like his spiraling was like real. So
Mm-hmm.
yeah, so the main takeaway that his audience had was basically he was ruining his health just for views because he kept pushing the limits knowing that people would still want to watch. They want to see how far he can actually go. But
Mm-hmm.
as you mentioned recently, he did shock everybody. He shocked the whole internet by revealing that he lost a lot of weight. So
Mm-hmm.
like so much weight, and now he's waiting to get the skin removal, like the loose skin removal. So people started to question if maybe that whole persona of like turning himself obese and overeating and pushing himself to the limits, was that all just a stunt, like a publicity stunt to get his career going? So
Mm-hmm.
yeah,
That's insane. Imagine, like, honestly, trying to keep the weight off is one thing and trying to keep the weight in is one thing, but like for someone to do both, like I think
yeah.
he has lost weight before this, right? This is not his first time like drastically losing weight. I think he has
Um,
been trying to lose weight before this.
yeah,
And then
yeah,
I
but
think he
he
also mm-hmm.
yeah, but he kind of laid low for a little bit, and people didn't really know what was
Yeah,
going on with him. And then suddenly he came out and he's like super skinny. So,
right. And I think more than skinny, he also looks like really toned. He didn't just become skinny, which is like, so
yeah.
he's really been working on himself. But
Yep.
I don't know. I really don't know how to feel about it. Is it really clickbait, or is he really trying to move forward with his healthier lifestyle? What do you think?
I think it, I think he's just maybe he realized that doing things like that and risking his health for, just a couple of clicks and whatnot, maybe he realized that in the long term it might actually affect him too badly. And I guess
Mm-hmm.
he knew that at that point, whatever he did, people will already watch anyway. So I guess he
Mm-hmm.
tried to push himself by becoming healthier, losing a lot of weight
Mm-hmm.
and working on himself. And he's
Mm-hmm.
right, people are still watching him. So,
That's true. That is true. Well, I guess if one thing is clear from all this, any clickbait video will sell, any outrage sells. So whether or not it's
Yep.
on purpose, I think controversy will keep people talking, clicking, and watching all the time. And some of these influencers, they might even fall into it without knowing, and then they tend to continue it. But some people, I guess, they do it on purpose. You'll never know. You'll never know what is really going on in the back of these people's minds. So I guess next time, you guys, our listeners, when you see something trending for something or someone who's chaotic, maybe you should ask yourself, are they really in trouble, or is this just their next marketing move? Before going all crazy on it. So that's it for this week's episode of Comm Chronicles. Thank you so much to our guest Hanim for joining us. Thank you, Hanim.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
So thanks to our listeners for tuning in, and let us know your thoughts. Do you think outrage is a shortcut to fame, or does it eventually backfire? See y'all next week.